Hi, Ashley.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. I would like for you, before we jump into this interview, just get started by telling everybody who you are and what it is that makes you more than just a mom.
Okay. I'm Ashley Lara. I am accessories and fashion designer, and my brand is Love Jaded Designs,
Nice.
which was started in 2011 as like a part-time kind of hobby thing. I took it on full time. Okay, let's backtrack a little bit. In 2017, I launched the website in 2017 when I still was working full time for a
Okay.
company. I don't know if you can hear my daughter. She's kind of yelling at the time right
It's fine. It's like I tell
now.
everybody, this is Mompreneur Mondays. If you can't
Yeah,
deal with a kid in the background or
yeah,
interrupting, sorry, wrong
yeah.
show.
She's teasing, so she's like not.
So
Yeah,
she's like what, 10
she's
months?
she'll be 10 months on Monday.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
trying to do the math from when you first signed up for Mompreneur
yeah,
Mondays to what she would be today.
yeah,
So okay, pretty close.
yeah. So she's Hold on 1 second.
No problem.
He's like he got it, so we're fine. So 2017, I launched the website when I was still working full time. So I had a 9 to 5, and I was actually managing a website at that time. I was managing a website, and I was in charge of their customer service as well as their shipping department. So I was running two
Okay.
departments while actually launching my own website. So I
Wow.
did that in 2017. 2018, I was laid off, and I was at that company for like 6 years. I
Oh
was laid
wow.
off, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna look for a job. But then I like literally started focusing on Love Jaded, and kind of like just went head on, and this is what I've been doing ever since. So yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
great. Congratulations on going after your dreams because it would sound like you were working really hard, kind of unappreciated
yeah,
for somebody else's dreams. I mean, 6 years and then they're just like, bye.
yeah.
Yeah, been
But
there.
you know what? I say it like this. I was like, I have a big foundation in God, and I knew for a long time that I was supposed to leave. Like I had already reached the threshold of where I can climb the ladder. Like there was nowhere else that I could go, and I knew it was time
Got
for me to
you.
leave. But I was comfortable. So God had already told me, look for something else, do something else. It's time to go. And I was like, no, no, no. And then, I told my brother this all the time. Like, it's like the analogy of God said, jump off the cliff, and we don't take that jump because we're scared of what's at the end of the cliff. But He has like this cushion there for us to fall on, and we
Mm,
don't listen. And then, kind of, God was like, all right, you don't listen to me. And then it was like the
that push.
layoff was like, push, kick, and then now the road was a little bit different going down, but
Yes.
it's still the same path.
For sure. Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like that really is what happens when you're starting to go into something that you have to do. Like even when it's not necessarily like that thing, sometimes it's just
Hmm.
like something that you have to go through and you keep like fighting, going through it and fighting it
Exactly.
and fighting it. I know I literally just had a conversation with my husband. I say that a lot. I need to go through videos and count how many times I said I had a conversation with my husband. But where I was telling him like I had this moment of like thinking about going back to work, and it was like instantly this like response of like, no, you're doing this for a reason, you need to focus on this. Because the truth is like for a while you can kind of juggle the two and whatnot,
Mhm.
but after a while it does become a lot. And thankfully during your time of figuring out what you wanted to do for business, you actually weren't a mother during that time, so you had a
No.
little bit less chaotic life, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, not there's a backstory. I mean, I don't want to make people
Okay.
sad. But there's so also in 2018 we I found out that I was pregnant.
Okay.
And at the time I found out I was pregnant, I was like the pregnancy was really hard and I was getting really, really sick. And then in June, they told me that they said, oh, we did this test, the blood work that they always do. And they was like, we thought that you had, I forget what it's called, but essentially they thought my body was attacking the baby. Um,
Oh,
and that's not what the case was. My body was actually attacking itself. And
oh
then they were
no.
like, you have lupus antibodies. And I'm like, I don't have lupus. What are you talking about? And then they were like, you have to get checked. You have to get tested. And because I was not working at the time, I had Medicaid.
Mm-hmm.
And my Medicaid got cut off for some odd reason. And then I had to wait a
Oh,
month for it to get reinstated. So between June and July, I I was going to the doctor, but I couldn't get any specialist like a clinic.
yeah.
I had to just go to like a regular clinic. I couldn't get a specialist, and they kept telling me, "Oh, we can't see you until October." It was like a whole big thing. We can't see you until
So
October.
they
And
knew that this was basically life threatening and they just pushed it
exactly,
off.
yeah. And they were like, "We can't see you until October," so I couldn't get into any appointments. I kept going to like the regular OBGYN, for my
Mm-hmm.
weekly appointments or whatever, but I couldn't get in to see a specialist to confirm if I had the lupus or not. And then in August, I ended up going in for a regular sonogram and they told me there was no heart. So I had to, we had to deliver her sleeping. So that was like a whole big, that was I want to say it was a part of the journey, a part of the process. She's my angel. Um, in a sense, it's sad. Obviously, it's very sad.
It is.
Um, but it is also hope in the story because if I would not have become pregnant, I had lupus essentially my whole life, and it was affecting me my whole life. But there was nothing that no one was checking for it. Even though at 17 I was diagnosed with high blood pressure, not being heavyweight, being an active person, so there was no reason for me to have high blood pressure at that age.
Right.
And they should have done further testing, but they didn't. No one did further testing. So from 17, my lupus probably was very active. And had I not become pregnant, had this not happened, we would not have found out what was going on, as well as me having a heart condition. I have an enlarged aorta. And if that burst, I could, have an aneurysm. So without going through that experience, I would not have made it out of 2018, essentially.
Right.
So that was the journey. Um, but I'm thankful for the journey because in that journey I'm able to help other moms who have gone through the same thing now, as
Yes.
well as now I can, take care of myself and my health. It's like kind of like a silent killer because I didn't know anything was
Right.
going on. So yeah.
It's
But yeah,
it's really shocking. Well, it shouldn't be shocking to me, but it still is because our medical system has never supported really anybody, but especially not Black people and especially not women. So we got the
yeah,
double-edged sword there. But it's just crazy to me that you were so young and otherwise healthy, like you said, active, you weren't overweight, and you end up with something that most people who are active and of a healthy weight wouldn't have, and they didn't think like maybe we should look further into this.
hmm and
So that's like the
it's,
first thing. And then when you do become pregnant, they're just like, oh well, you might have lupus, you might not, whatever, we'll get to you when
yeah,
we get to you kind of attitude. And it's just
it's
it's
really, I mean,
kind
it's
of
really
crazy.
sad. It's really sad that the country is like that because even in birthing our daughter, I delivered her in a room alone with my husband and my grandmother. They told, they went out and said, hey, her contractions is 2 minutes apart, like you have to come in, and they didn't come in. And I told my husband, I'm like, babe, she's coming now. I feel the
Okay.
pressure. She's coming now. And he was like, it's not possible. No, she's not. I'm like, yes, she is. And then like literally 30 seconds later, I positioned my body and then I pushed her out and she was there and no doctors were in the room. And even with me having high blood pressure, even with the possibility, because at that time it still wasn't confirmed about the lupus, even with the possibility of me having lupus, my pressure wasn't even being checked at the time. So it's still, there was still so much fault in the system where I ended up having a blood clot in my lungs. I ended up having the blood clot in my lungs, an infection, where I was out of the hospital for 2 weeks and then I had to go back into the hospital and then I stayed in the hospital for another 2 weeks. So it was just a long process. But again, I'm thankful that I went through that only because I'm here today and I'm able to have her sister here with me because she saved my life.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird to say, okay, your child passed on to save you, but that's what happened and that's what I
Yeah.
feel. I feel like she saved my life and allowed me to be able to be here to have another child.
Yeah, and to share that story too, because
Yeah.
unfortunately, so many other women who have been through that aren't here to tell that story, and they have children who are here, but they'll never know their mother. And so it's so powerful that you are still here and that you are able to share that story, so that if there's someone out there who is going through that same thing right now where the doctors aren't listening, they may not feel so much alone, because I can't even imagine how alone you had to feel during all of that. I mean, I know you mentioned your husband and your grandmother were there with you when you gave birth to her, but that's still such a hard thing because they're not living that pain. It's a different thing. So I'm so happy that you are here and that you did share that story. I mean, it wasn't what we were planning for today,
no,
but it's such an important message.
Comes up, right?
Yeah, I'm saying, like, it's good. It's so good that it did come up, because it's just something that we don't talk about as mothers very often.
In like afterwards, my sister did lose a child as well before, so she kind of walked me through the process of, you have to hold her, you don't miss out on the opportunity of holding her, hold her for a little bit. We had already named her already, so she had her name already. But just my sister walking me through that process, that helped a lot. But then when I wanted to look into like support groups, there weren't a lot of support groups that I could find that was for a Black or brown woman, because in our community, is a stigma. So we didn't have it. So I hope that, by me voicing it and talking about it, other women can voice it and talk about it. And the people that may feel alone and don't have anyone to talk to, they can become to have a community, because we become more open about, what is actually going on.
Yeah, and it is sad that you're right, we don't really have those platforms, and a lot of it is that, like you said, that stigma of like, we're supposed to be strong, things happen to us, and we just move along like nothing happened, and that's not healthy. It's terrifying, and it's not going to help us with the children that we do have. Like, if you didn't face that, it would probably be a whole lot harder now with an 8-month-old still carrying that weight as a weight, instead of just as some as a trophy in some respects, that you made it through that turmoil, and that that your daughter essentially saved your life, versus just pain because you haven't worked through that process. So yes, you are definitely more than just a mother. And I'm so thankful that you shared that story with us. But I do want to get into talking about some of the things that you are today because of what happened to you in the past. So before we jump into your business, I just want to know, what is your favorite thing to do with your little baby? I know she's only almost 10 months, but she's probably starting to move around a lot now.
Oh, she moves around. Yes, she does. And she thinks she can walk. So, that's another thing. we sang a song together. So I made up a song just random. I'm not gonna sing it here because that's our song.
Really?
And
If you
my
if
voice
you
is
if you
not.
sing one, I'll sing one.
My voice is not. No.
Neither is mine.
So we sang a song. She loves to dance. So I always play music for her, and one of my bonus daughters, she actually sings. So we played her song um, for her last night, and she kind of was like just
Oh,
dancing to it. So
oh,
she loves to dance. I love to watch her dance. So that's kind of our thing right now, like just me watching her dance and move around and explore. And I love to watch her explore because she'll look at something and she'll zone out and you'll be like, what's going on? What's wrong with you? What you doing? And then she'll take off for it. So it's like she's inspecting, how can I get to that? How can I pull it down? Or,
yeah,
so it's just amazing to watch her do that. So yeah, I think that's my favorite thing. Her dancing
yes.
and just watching her develop. Yeah.
I miss that stage mostly because they don't tell you no at that stage, and it's just like all
Oh
this
no,
development stuff.
she's bossy.
Oh,
She's
she's
bossy.
bossy.
So
Yeah.
she'll tell me no
And I
if
could
I
just
take.
be forgetting that part too because I got like
Yeah,
verbal cues now.
if I take her something from her, she'll pop my hand, and I'm like, oh, where you learn that from? So
just
yeah.
just wait. She'll start telling you all the things that she learned from you when
Mhm.
she starts talking. I was surprised at some of my habits until my daughter started talking. And where'd you hear that from? And like in the back of my head, I bet it was your daddy. And she's like, you? I'm like, oh, oops.
Yeah.
So yeah, they definitely mirror so many things, but it's such a cool stage when they're like learning so much and you get
Yes.
to see that happen. That's so cool. What are some of the things that you enjoy doing for hobbies outside of your business and outside of being a mom?
Um, outside of my business, I was gonna say crocheting, but I incorporated crocheting into my business. So that doesn't count anymore. Um, I write. Um, I haven't done a lot of writing lately. But I do write. My husband and I started, believe it or not, when we met, we didn't know that we both liked art. Um, that wasn't something that came up until maybe 4 years into our relationship.
Okay.
Because he doesn't do art now, but when he was younger, he did do art.
Mhm.
So we started doing pour paintings. So we actually like have huge pour paintings around the house that we did
Cool.
ourselves, and that was pretty fun. We haven't done it in a while, but that's something that I think we'll pick back up um, once we have more space to do it. Because now with her here, like they take a long time to dry, so
Mhm.
that's not something that we could do where it would be out of her
Have
way. I mean, the
handprints.
painting would be completely different if if we did it with her here. What else? And reading. So those are the things. Yeah,
Well,
those are the.
maybe soon she'll be able to help with some of the paintings and make her own little
Yeah,
pour
I think that
painting.
she'll be into it because she loves, like, when she sees like things with a lot of colors.
Hmm.
She gravitates towards it. So I think I mean, that would be cool for her to be an artist like us. So
Yeah. Right now, you would just have little hand and footprints probably all over it,
yeah.
waiting for it to dry. So, when you mentioned the name of your business earlier,
Yes.
go ahead and tell everyone what the name of your business is again, in case they missed it, and why you chose that specific name for your
Okay.
jewelry business or accessory business.
Love Jaded Design. Why did I choose the name? Hilarious story. So I my sister's best friend from high school had a daughter named Jade, right?
Mhm.
And I told my mother, I said, Mom, I love this name. I want to name my daughter Jade. She was like, you can't do that. I'm like, what? So then, I'm in high school. I'm like 15, 16 at the time. And I'm like, I really love this name though. I want to name my daughter Jade. So then AOL was big at that time, and
You've got
my
mail.
AOL name was Love Jade.
Mm-hmm.
So then after a while, my mom was like, "Oh, that's cute." And then I think I had like a bad breakup, so then I changed it to Jaded. And then
Nice.
my mother was like, "Oh, Love Jaded. That is a nice name. You should make that your business." And I'm like, "Okay." And when I started, before I like actually started with the business, I was thinking of a whole bunch of different other names, and then it came back to mind what she said, and I'm like, Love Jaded. Okay, Love Jaded Designs. That's it.
Foreshadowing.
Yes.
Mama knew what was happening.
Yes.
She just couldn't tell you. She had to let it
No.
happen for you.
Yeah.
But she already put that out there for you. Awesome.
Exactly.
So I love how you changed the Jade to Jaded. Like,
Yeah.
that was cute. So what was it about accessories that made you say, this is what I want to do for a business? Like, what pulled you in that direction?
Funny story is at first I didn't realize that I was going to be an accessories designer because I went to school for fashion design,
Mhm.
and creating clothes, and I was doing that. And at the time I was like going to the club and lounges and everything like that, and everyone looked exactly the same. Like, I know that's so cliche and people probably say it all the time, but everyone looked the same. We were all shopping at the same places. These big brand stores, or maybe not big brand stores, but these department stores, and
Mhm.
we're shopping there, and everyone's wearing the same thing, the same clothes, the same accessories, and I'm like, I don't want to look like anyone else. I want to look different. I want to stick out and stand out. And I started just buying beads, because I already had fabric and was making clothes. So I
Mhm.
just started buying beads and like started making different stuff. I made all of the bridal accessories for my sister's wedding,
Nice.
and that was also in 2011. So that's kind of like when I started, and then
Sorry, I'm
I
trying not
just
to sneeze.
started I just started
Oh,
creating stuff, and I did an event in 2011, and afterwards I was like, "Oh, whatever, this is just going to be blah. I wasn't believing in myself because I guess it didn't take off the way I wanted it to take off.
mhm.
Um but yeah, essentially I started it because everyone looked the same. And I didn't
Yeah.
want to look like everyone else.
And honestly, one of the best ways to dress something up or change something up is with an accessory.
Yes.
So that was actually pretty smart. Yeah, everybody pretty much did look the same. So
Yeah.
you were right.
Yeah.
So in your business, what are some goals that you have for this year? So you've
This
been in
year,
business now for what, 6 years? Am I doing the math right?
um
Or is it
no,
7?
2011. No, it will be 10 years in November.
I can't add. For one, I keep not trying to count. Like, and I was so against this whole theory of not counting last year, but
Yeah.
I literally typed out, I had to type a contract because I put 2019 on it.
I
I'm
mean,
like,
2020 took some stuff from us, gave us some stuff,
yes.
but took some stuff away from us too. So I definitely totally understand, because last year I actually posted that last year we made 10 years, which
Mhm.
was so. This year we make 10 years.
Okay, so 10 years in business.
Yes.
I don't know where I was getting my numbers from, but like I said, can't add. And we're doing a late interview, so
Yes.
my brain is shutting down at the moment, getting ready for bed. but, I'm like, yeah, that's. Then I thought about, it, I was like, that's not right. So 10 years, everyone, of
Yes.
Love Jade Designs,
Yes.
right? It's not
Love
jaded.
Jaded.
I almost said jaded because you told me.
Jaded. Love Jaded. It is Jaded.
Oh, it is
Love
jaded.
Jaded
See,
Design.
that's what I'm talking about. My brain. We'll get there. Love Jaded Designs. See,
Yes.
I got you now. So, what has been your mission since starting the business 10 years ago?
Mhm.
And has that mission changed at all as you've progressed through business?
Well, initially when I started, it was just about, oh, I wanna, I wanna look cute. I want everyone to look cute. That's still the goal. um, and it was about keeping to creating a community where it is still us selling to us, because I think that's a lot of times what happens is we have brands where they're like, ooh, I saw that hip hop video, I like the way they were dressing, and then all of a sudden someone is designing clothes for us but that aren't us.
Right.
So that's still something that is still dear to me. Like, I want to make sure that I'm still bringing our culture back to us,
Yes.
and
100%.
keeping the prices at a reasonable cost, because I feel like a lot of times that when you try to get exclusive and you try to get things that are limited edition things, they become really pricey. And when I started the brand, I was not making a lot of money. And I was thinking about my friends, the people who I was potentially selling to, like, they have the
Right.
same money I have. So I want to be able to always be able to sell to them. And
Right.
um, so
Give
that's
them
still
something to feel good too.
exactly. So that's still the
Everybody feel
mission.
good.
And I think what I just started, or I'm starting up now, the project that I'm starting up now is the Green Initiative.
Hmm.
And it's basically where I'm going to begin, like, because I work with metals, they tarnish eventually, and everything tarnishes
Mm-hmm.
eventually, right? Where people can start sending their items back in if they have like an item that was created with semi-precious stones or anything that was of a higher value. They can send them in for either a credit, or we can change the item around for a lower cost than they would have done if it was a expensive item, because I'm all about saving the earth. I'm
You
so all
gotta
about saving
be.
the earth. Recycle, recycle, recycle. I recycle and repurpose everything. So I have about 70 Talenti containers, probably more than that, but that's my bead storage. So that's, I was like, how can I incorporate that, type of repurpose, recycle into the business? So that was something that I'm starting now. Yeah.
Nice. I love
Yeah.
that you are thinking really futuristic in the fact
Yeah.
of protecting our home, everybody's
Yeah.
home, as much as you possibly can. I think I
Yeah.
know I can personally improve in that area. And I think that it is important that that's something that we also talk about too, because when we're building legacies for our children, they have to have somewhere to live that legacy out.
Yeah.
So it is really dope. I love that you have a way to recycle and to still give that customer a piece that they're going to enjoy after the fact. So it's not even just, oh, just bring it back and I'll recycle it. Like I can
Hmm.
recycle it and maybe make something else out of it for you.
Yeah.
That's a better quality or better condition since it's been
Hmm.
tarnished. So that's really cool. Now
Yeah.
you are actually a very interesting mompreneur in one aspect that's been different from a lot of the moms that I've spoken to. And that is that you actually have been in business most of the time without having a little one at home.
Yes.
So you've been in business for 10 years and your daughter is 10 months old. How has this last 10 months been for you in business, juggling being a new mommy and having a business that you really already have built at this point?
So, you know how they say it takes 10 years and then you get that like 1 year where everything just kind of pops? I think
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of why I thought last year was 10th year, because last year everything kind of just popped. And I guess it was
Nice.
because the whole world stood still, and then everyone was like, where can I shop? Because these big brands were like closing down because, of COVID restrictions and everything that they had
Right.
to go by. and small businesses, because we're already small and we're already home, we didn't have those same type of restrictions.
That
So it kind of just kind of popped. And how has it been? So like last year, from being fully pregnant, and just like working on orders and pushing orders out, and then making sure I'm marketing the business and keeping active on social media and networking with other small businesses. Um, it kind of took off to the point where when I went into the hospital, I had orders to fulfill, but my clients already knew, like, oh, she's going in, it'll be 2 weeks. Um, it was a week after she was born, and I'm sitting stringing waist beads as she's sleeping. So essentially, in the beginning, she slept a lot. So she was napping for like hours at a time. And I would be like, okay, I don't know what they're talking about. Take these naps while she's sleeping. I got work to do. And I would literally be working, and I'm also like, even though I am an entrepreneur, I am still a stay-at-home wife as well. So,
right.
dinner has to be done, and, house chores, the whole juggling process, it is a lot to do. But I think that with my husband also being home, working from home as well, has helped, because the commute that he would have normally had on the train, he's off 5, 6, sometimes later, but we try to cut it off 5, 6, and then I could be like, here's her, let's get dinner done, and it's essentially that has helped a lot. Now with her being older, I think is becoming more tricky because she's moving around.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not able to like wire and do things near her because, wires essentially, if I cut something, it might fly somewhere, and she puts
Right.
everything in her mouth. So I have been kind of like, especially the last 2 weeks, I've been juggling that a little bit. So that's still a little bit tricky. But when I do have her, what I did find out is work on your emails, which I'm really bad about. I'm really bad about working on emails. But work on your emails, work on your social media content. I'm also running, someone else's social media page, work on their content. So it's like, I do that with her in my hand because our phone is a computer. So that's something that I'm able to do. So I just find that when I have her work on, what I can, and when I don't have her, like, quickly get things done. So sometimes it's like middle of the night working, but she's the boss, so I'm around her schedule.
Yeah, especially that little, it's definitely everything is really about protecting her and making
Yeah,
sure that she's safe and whatnot. Because yeah, that's as soon as you said wiring, I was thinking her like swiping at it and getting scratched or something. I didn't
yeah,
think about the small
exactly.
pieces. So there's a
Hmm.
lot to think about in something like that. And it does change at every stage. It's something
Yeah,
different. Like it changes so much with having little ones and very
yeah.
quickly.
Yes, and quickly, because in the beginning, like I said, in the beginning, I got everything done. I was like, oh my God, I'm getting everything done. Now she's taking like 15, 20-minute naps. So it's like, and then she doesn't want to sleep at night either. So it's like, but like I said, I don't know how we do it, but eventually we get it done. So that's the
Oh yeah.
most important. That's the most important thing. It does get done somehow, some way.
Yeah. And it's great that you do have a support system too.
Yeah,
And thanks to COVID or a job change, I'm not sure which one caused him to be at
yeah.
home. He's at home.
The
Yeah. He's at home too. So that is definitely helpful. Like literally right now, my daughter took a late nap. She's up right now. Hopefully, fingers crossed she stays quiet. But daddy's on daddy duty. So
Yeah,
it's always great to have that extra support system.
yeah.
What do you feel like has been your biggest success with Love Jaded Designs thus far? I mean, you've got 10 years to look over, and what do you feel like has been the biggest success in 10 years?
My biggest success. is that strangers are shopping with me. And I mean strangers, not friends of friends, not, like, because a lot of times my sister, she was like my biggest supporter with rings. She
Mm-hmm.
loves her rings. She's always getting her nails done. So she would wear rings to work and they'd be like, oh, where did you get that from? And then all of her coworkers started shopping with me. But
Right.
now it's like someone sees me on social media and they're like, oh, I like that. I'm gonna shop that. So that has literally been the biggest thing. Like I'm reaching people that maybe somebody that I know don't know. So, that's that's the biggest thing. And international orders. So I've shipped to
Nice.
Canada, I've shipped to Taiwan, I've shipped to South Korea. So, those are the biggest things when you have people that aren't in the US too. Like they're looking at your stuff, it's like, oh my God, I'm reaching, like I
Yes.
haven't been to these places, but my accessories have. So that, that kind of feels good. Yeah.
Internationally known
Yes.
without even having to go. That is really the beauty of like social media and the internet now, and the fact that we can actually reach other people that, no, if just 10 years ago we wouldn't have been able to reach,
Exactly.
like that's phenomenal. So congratulations on
Thank
becoming
you.
internationally known.
Thank you.
That's awesome, and hopefully they start telling some friends and you have a few more
Yeah.
international customers. So
Yeah.
Love Jd gonna be a household brand. um
Yes. That's the goal.
yes, I know you
Me.
are still a small business, but now that you've expanded to be internationally known and you've been in
Yes.
business for 10 years, are you currently working with employees, or are you a one woman show?
So a one woman show, but I have to say my sisters and my husband, they're like, that they're like the volunteer employees, I want to say, because my sister, she helps me with the blog, like any, like, grandma, I'm like, can you check this, make sure this looks good, because I don't want to have something up there and the period is not where it's supposed to be. So my sister does that. Any ideas that I have as far as like a new creation, I run it by them. So I essentially have like a production team. So they're like looking at stuff, and sometimes I'm like, listen, I only could make 5 of these. You all can't buy them. So um they're my biggest supporters and my biggest fans. So they actually help me. So it is only me right now, but I can't say that I'm really doing it by myself, because they really help me go through the process. And sometimes I have really bad ideas and they're like, no, don't do that, don't do that. So yeah, so they kind of wing it in and help me, make sure everything is clean and looks, yeah.
So you have one working as like a editing intern. You got some advisors.
And one of my sisters, she actually does marketing. So she was helping me a lot in the beginning when I was like,
Nice.
when I started.
Okay, you're good.
So yeah, so in the beginning she would help me with the marketing. So now she does another few projects. So I kind of just shoot her some stuff and like, hey, do you like this? And she's really awesome with that. And one of my aunts is one of my influencers. So yeah.
Nice. Make
Yeah,
it.
so
So it's a family business,
yeah,
basically.
yeah, essentially, like when people are like, "Oh, your family, don't look to your family to buy and support you," and I'm like, "Oh, I don't know what that feels like." So yeah.
Sorry, I can't relate. Yeah, I definitely, I mean, I agree with that sentiment in one respect of not having the expectation
Yeah.
that they will, but you also have to know who your family is.
Hmm.
And honestly, it's going to depend on what business you're in too. Like you're in an accessory business, and it sounds like there's a lot of women in your business, in your family, that are close to you, because you've mentioned sisters and auntie. So accessories is definitely something that they're going to utilize, right? Did I lose you again? I did. Did you hear anything that I said?
No.
Zoom is not being friendly to me today. It was hard to get on here, and I kid you not, this is the first time it's ever frozen on me.
Yeah, I took my Wi-Fi off too because, with everyone working from home and everything, the Wi-Fi has been super glitchy. So hopefully my data just will let it go through too, because it could be on my end as well.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Tricks that we found out, we got these little, and we are recorded. So if anybody wants to use this trick and keep this in the video, we got these little Google Home Pod things. Oh, I don't know if it stretches. It doesn't stretch that far. Okay, never mind. But anyways, it helps with our Wi-Fi because we had the same problem because
Okay.
my husband's doing school from home, my daughter's doing school from home, I'm doing this from home and real estate, and it was just like
Yeah.
too many things going at the same time. But anyways, what I was getting at about your business is that it sounds like there's a lot of women in your business, I mean, in your family, that are supporting your
Yeah.
business, which is an accessory brand and
Exactly.
primarily going to be women. Not that there won't be any men, but
Yeah.
primarily going to be women supporting it. And that's one thing that people don't really think about when they start a business and they're looking for family support is, are you even running a business that they will shop at if it wasn't you?
Exactly.
You know, like you can't expect, like, I run a business for moms, right? I'm not looking
Mhm.
for my brothers to buy one of my planners, like, unless they're buying
Yeah.
it for, like, my one brother who's married, like, unless he bought one for his wife. But even then, he lives overseas. I don't think he's paying for that shipping. so it's like it's also being very logical about what business you're in
Exactly.
and who your family is, because if you have a family that didn't support you for anything else, don't expect them to support you once you become an
Exactly.
entrepreneur, so
Exactly.
I like the point of it of not expecting, but people sometimes dig a little too deep into that.
Yes.
um so one other thing that I wanted to know about your business, and it's going to kind of start to go into the balancing portion of it, is with you being very new to motherhood and seasoned in business. Do you ever feel mom guilt when you're working on your business? And if you do, how do you manage it?
Mom guilt. Okay. So, um, yes, because sometimes, and maybe it's not mom guilt. Maybe it's like housewife guilt. Um, because sometimes I'm like, okay, I have to do this laundry over here, but I really have to like work on these hoops, so I have to work on this order and I have to get this stuff done. I'm gonna do that first and then I'm gonna go do the laundry. And I think that essentially why I say it's not mom guilt is because before those things never like it would just get done because there wasn't like an extra human that I had to worry about. And
Right.
now because it's the human, it's like, okay, we have to make sure she's good. Um, and maybe sometimes like I want her to go to bed, maybe at night.
Mhm.
I'm like, you gotta go to sleep because mom has to get some more things done. And then I'll fall asleep and then I wake up and be like, oh man, I didn't get anything done. Um, I did have that issue maybe in the beginning, when she first started like getting really busy.
Mhm.
Um, but I'm in therapy, so
Yes, mental
um,
health, take care of it.
I, I really say that talking it out, even if it's not with a therapist, but talking it out like with your partner, your spouse, your support system, it helps because I could really say I don't really have it, and maybe it's because when I feel anything, I immediately talk it out. Um, Most of the times it's really like, oh my God, he's gonna kill me because I didn't like get the dishes done. Like that type of thing. it's not really her.
It's not like you feeling like, oh, I didn't do this for my child because you're
yeah,
like, so the
yeah,
husband is getting the short end of the stick.
yeah. Because I mean, anything, I drop anything and I'll do everything for her. But like, okay, we'll do that later.
Your laundry will get folded maybe
Yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah.
Nobody likes folding laundry anyway. Like
No, I
I haven't
don't.
met anyone. I mean, I guess people who like start laundry businesses might, but
Yeah. No.
not me.
My husband does. He does. He likes photo laundries.
You said your husband does?
Yes, he does.
Oh, we'll tell him to fold it. He at home.
Exactly.
Don't have him come after me though. Sorry, Mr. Ashley Lara. So, speaking of mom guilt, getting into you as a person and as an individual, how often are you making time for yourself now that you're balancing everything? You've got the therapy, so you're working out the mom guilt. You're making sure that that's not an issue. What about time for yourself? How much Ashley time?
We have not figured out how to get the Ashley time in.
Okay.
We have not figured out, because even when like it's the weekend and he has like more time, if I be like, can you hold her down? It's not to hold her down for me to like go take a bath or do anything like that. It's like hold her down so I could go work.
Right,
Like,
right.
so I have not, and I've been like, my therapist is getting on me about that. She's like, you have to do something, like every day you have to do a hobby, even if it's like crocheting something, but don't crochet something that you're making money on. Crochet something that's just making you feel good. Um, so we have not gotten to the point. So my suggestion is, like, any moms out there, like, do it, because it essentially it becomes overwhelming to not have that time, because it's like, oh, I gotta work again. I don't want my business to become a burden to me,
Right.
because because I'm so focused on being a mom, so focused on trying to, remain a good wife, that the business now becomes a burden to me. So yeah, I have to put in that Ashley. I'm saying mom time. I have to put it.
Ashley time,
I
not
have to
mom
put in
time.
the Ashley time. And I'm working on it. Like, I do take my hour at night. So no matter what time if she goes to sleep at 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm taking my hour, unless I fall asleep with her. But if I'm still up, I take my hour to myself. So that is the only Ashley time that I've done. Like, I take that hour to kind of like decompress, like, just think about the day, and then, like, okay, now I'm gonna go to sleep.
Well, that's
So
still good. That's still healthy, and it's
that's the
still
only, yeah.
sometime, it doesn't, I mean, it really isn't like a specific thing that we have to do when we take
Yeah,
that time for ourselves. It's just important that we take that time for
yeah,
ourselves. I mean, you might just sit in a room in the dark, quiet, not saying nothing, just to, like you said,
yeah.
decompress.
Quiet is important, right?
Yes, especially with little ones, and
Yeah,
it gets more and more important the bigger they get and the louder they get.
yeah.
I don't know if you could hear that. She just did
No.
come upstairs. I don't know. I'll check it once we're done. But it does. But as far as like making time, at least for me, it got easier as she got bigger. And
Yeah.
I'm a real like independent person. I've always been really independent in a lot of ways, and
Mhm.
I really push her to be independent. So
Yeah.
she's gonna be 4 now. Oh my goodness. Yeah, she's gonna be 4 in less than a month. And we've always pushed her like to get herself dressed, to brush her own teeth, to do
Yeah.
all these little things on herself. And she loves it. Like she loves that independent feeling of feeling like she's empowered to do things herself.
Yeah.
And I'm like in the background, like, ha ha ha, I don't have to do it now.
Yeah.
that just that just saved me 20 minutes.
No, that makes perfect sense, and that's what I hope to do, and that's what I hope that I'm doing with her, to make her independent as well. Because I'm like, I'm not the mom that's like clingy child mom. Quarantine messed that up though, because she's definitely clingy. Um,
Well, she's also like really little too. Like my daughter,
yeah.
she's almost 4 and she can be really clingy too. Like I think at that age they're just like super clingy to us,
Yeah.
but like I couldn't see myself like cutting her food at 10.
No,
Like,
no,
nope, I'm not that mom. I'm like, you got this. You got 2 working
no,
hands. Go do it. So,
exactly.
so you know, it's and it's also it's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do. If you want to baby your kid that way, I just don't see the benefit in it, so I don't do it.
Yeah. No,
But
exactly.
mom, your way. No mom shaming this way. Like, if you want to cut
No.
your kid's food, go ahead. But if my kid
No,
asks
because
me to do the
sometimes
same,
that, that's fulfilling for some people.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
whatever is fulfilling for you, you do that. But honestly, no.
Yeah, and then you have to know your kid, you have to know yourself, and like find
That,
that perfect little mix and that balance. For me,
yeah.
I'm like, you know, there's a limit to how many little gushy, so like helpful little things I'm gonna do
Yeah.
depending on your age. But that's also just like who I am. Like I'm
No,
a
I
person, I
agree.
expect that. But I'm not like, oh, look at this mom cutting her. Like if you want to cut their food and they like it and you like it, you know, your life. Go ahead,
Exactly.
go ahead. But what do you feel like has been like your biggest aha moment in becoming a mother and balancing that with being an individual? And I know you said that you're doing that 1 hour right now, but
Um,
that little aha moment.
hmm. Haven't had one of those yet. Um,
I love the setback.
uh, I'm trying to think now. That is very interesting because I can't think that I've had one.
You haven't had
Uh,
like that thing like, ha, this works. I didn't think this was gonna work, but this is how this is gonna work.
hmm. Have I? So possibly, but
We'll blame it on mom brain. I'm sure
yeah,
you've had
because
one because
I,
it's
I
always
mean,
those little changes.
I guess in the beginning, I was afraid. I've been around kids my whole life. I'm the third oldest of like 37 grandkids.
Oh, I thought you was
Um,
about to say 37 kids. I'm so sorry. My I, my heart dropped a little bit.
but it's only 10 kids that these 37 came from. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I'm the third oldest, and so I've been around kids my whole life. So like the ear infections, all of that type of stuff, I was good with. I was like, am I going to be able to hear her when she cries
Oh
at
yeah.
night? Right? The over the night thing, that was like the thing where, so I guess that is my aha moment, right? The over the night thing, I'm like, I've never had to like when I had my nephew, he was like 10 months. I'm like, I've never had like a newborn overnight. Am I gonna be able to hear her when she cries? Like, am I gonna
You
be
hear
like
it?
good at this? Um, in like clockwork, she was on it too in the beginning. Like she would sleep through the night, maybe after like 2 weeks, but in the beginning she was like on it, like every 3 hours. Wah! So so I and literally I would pop up. It was one time, and I guess I don't know if it was after her shots or something, but it was one time I didn't wake up. My husband was like working, and she was like screaming, and I was just, like, he was like, oh, maybe she's just taking her time getting getting ready.
I get it.
and, and he came in the room, and he was like, I was just knocked out, and she was just like in the little bassinet, like, so that was the one time. But I guess that was the moment, like being able to wake up in the middle of the night and to have that moment to say, okay, I woke up, I heard her, I'm good at this, because I sleep hard. So
You did that night, but probably because you knew he was up too.
yeah,
Because I feel like when you have like that security of like
yeah,
somebody that I trust is awake and they can handle.
yeah.
So yeah, I always get up, and my husband, he was such a trip. She crying and go back to sleep, and I'm like, I hear it. It was so funny, and like to this day, like if she wakes up, it's like this expectation that I'm gonna get up, and he looks at me crazy if I don't. Like I know the cries at this point. She's almost 4.
Yeah, exactly.
I know the difference of if she really needs me or if she's
Exactly.
a little fussy at the moment. But yeah, that's one of the things I think that we're all kind of nervous on with the first
Yeah.
baby. If you've never had a newborn, like that's kind of,
Mm-hmm.
I know it was scary for me because I'm like, I'm not gonna screw this up, right? When she got to like walking, I was like, I made it. I did this.
Exactly. Oh, and then I was afraid to hold her walking down the street. I'm probably still afraid of that because I'm a little bit clumsy. And I'm like, I don't want to trip and fall. And, so, so yes. So we have not passed that milestone yet.
Okay.
But it became even like breath. I
Wait,
was
do you have a
not,
stroller?
yeah, but like there were points where she just was like not with the stroller.
Oh, okay, I got you. Because
I'm screaming.
at
And
first I
somebody
imagined you just walking, holding the baby, no stroller, and I'm thinking like, wait, did you not get a stroller? Because she gonna get heavy after a while.
But then I guess I'm kind of over that because I did carry her in the carrier to run errands by myself. So yeah.
You good.
Yeah.
So okay, I'm hearing an accent, and you've mentioned a train at this point, and you've mentioned walking down the street. Are you in Brooklyn?
Yes.
Okay.
Brooklyn, New York.
I was like, this sounds very New York. Between
Yes.
her accent and the train and walking down the street to do errands. See, for me, I'm like, I'm not walking anywhere to do errands.
Have an accent. It's a dialect.
I was just like, I knew something was up. I was like, you know what, maybe it'll come out. And I heard Brooklyn twang, but then when you started saying all those different things, I'm like, she's in Brooklyn, I bet.
Yeah, Brooklyn. Yep.
So now for some of my fun questions, because we're gonna start wrapping up. The first one I want you to answer is, if you were to write a book about your life, what would you title it and why?
Perfectly Imperfect.
Perfectly Imperfect. So what's the reason for that title?
Because life has been a journey. I've been through a lot in life. But everything essentially happened in a way to make who I am today perfect. Like, I'm confident in who I am today with everything that I've been through. So yeah, life is not perfect. Life is not perfect. But it's perfect. Like, it's perfectly imperfect. So yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
That was actually my first Instagram name. I've changed my Instagram name. As you said that, I was like, man, I've changed my Instagram name a lot. But yeah, that was actually my first one.
That was one of mine too.
Really? I don't remember like the underscores or whatever, because I'm sure I probably had to like
Perfectly Imperfect 77.
Yeah, I know I had like extra stuff to it, and then I went natural, and it was like quirky curly cutie or some.
Yeah,
I thought was cute at the moment. So yeah, that I would pick it up just because obviously I felt that at some point in my life.
Yeah.
And now I want you to imagine I'm a genie. Just rub my little genie lamp or whatever genies come out of in 2021. And I've told you, you got 3 wishes. Is that what genies do? I think that's what they do. Anyways, 3 wishes. Anything that you want except more wishes. It's the only thing that you cannot wish for. What are you going to wish for?
3 wishes?
Just 3. But it can't be for more wishes.
That's the only rule?
That's the only rule.
Am I too deep? Because I think what I'm going to say is probably going to be like...
You can be as deep as you want. I'm not a real genie, so... I tell people that all the time because people like put so much thought in these wishes.
3 wishes. I know generally they say they can't bring people back to life, but you didn't make that a rule?
No, the only rule is that you can't wish for more wishes.
So I will wish for my mom, my dad, and my daughter to come back. Those are my 3 wishes.
So all three of them, why don't you just like wish for three people to come back and make it one wish? Never mind.
No, because genies are kind of weird, right? They don't give you exactly what you say. So if I would have just said I want three people to come back, they would have picked any three.
Well, no,
I
I'm
gotta.
saying like my wish is for these three people to come back, and then you name them. Never mind.
Okay.
I think we both thinking about this too hard.
Yeah. All right. So that's my one wish then. Okay.
Yeah, I would only count that. I'm a nice genie. I'm not gonna be petty. I will make that one wish,
Okay, that's my
and I'll
one
make
wish.
sure I have their names and like birth dates and stuff, so I'll bring the right people back.
My second wish would be because the first wish was already granted, right?
Right.
So my
Granted,
second
they're
wish would
back.
be for my daughters to live healthy and happy lives.
Mm-hmm.
And
Granted.
my third wish would be for me and my husband to fall in love all over and over again. Yeah,
Aww.
yeah, yeah.
I'm a
Those
time.
are my wishes.
I'm a time mark that third wish so that he can go back and replay that. It would be really cool if I could be a genie because I've gotten some interesting and thoughtful and loving wishes since adding that into the interview.
Yeah.
So I think it would be pretty cool if I could actually grant some of those wishes. Nope, nobody's went like dark and did like Jafar style wishes, so we're good.
Okay. That's what I was thinking about. I was thinking about Jafar, and I was thinking about how genies are usually tricky. Like,
Yeah.
is this a trick question?
I wish I was a genie too. So last, I just want to go ahead and wrap up because we are going to be live at 8 p.m. later on. We're pre-recording this, so a couple of months, but to everyone else, it'll be later on today. We will be live on Instagram. So Ashley, I want you to just go ahead and tell everyone how they can connect with you in Love Jaded Designs and where they could order. And after you're done telling everyone where they can connect with you, you can give anyone, any mom out there who especially is new to motherhood, one little nugget of advice.
Okay, so you can find me on lovejaded_designs on Instagram, as well as TikTok. I don't know TikTok, but I'm trying it. Twitter, lovejaded_D. I think Pinterest is the same. Don't hold me to it. You can find me on
I'll
Instagram
verify
mostly.
everything though for you.
You can find me on Instagram. Instagram is my favorite social media site. That's where I'm at every day. So lovejaded_designs. Facebook, I'm lovejaded_designs. You can shop me at lovejadeddesigns.com. And I think that's everything that you can find me
Yeah.
at. And mom advice: be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Motherhood is hard. We don't know it all. Even if you've like I said, I'm the third oldest of 37 kids. I've been around kids my whole life, changed diapers, everything. Everything is still brand new. Like, I didn't know babies were born without eyebrows. So yeah, I'm silly too. So yeah, be kind and be patient with yourself because it's a process. It's a process.
Take time for those eyebrows to grow in.
Yeah. It is a complete process. So just be kind and patient. And when you're having a hard day, take a step back and remember all of the things that you did do good in that day. Because, a hard day is not always just about it being hard. You made it to the end of that day. So yeah.
Yes.
That's my advice.
Well, thank you so much, Ashley, for sharing that advice and letting people know that their babies may not have eyebrows. And everything that you shared with us about Love Jaded. I really, really enjoy having you on here today and
Yes.
dissecting the fact that you were from Brooklyn.
That was a good one though. That was good. That was
Yeah, I was like, I didn't want to assume, but then when you said walking to do errands, I was like, this gotta be Brooklyn.
good.
So thank you so much for being on with me today, and I'm excited to go live
Yeah.
and share more about your journey with Love Jaded and the new journey of motherhood.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yeah.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks. Talk soon.
Okay. Bye bye.